Welcome to the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast. This is where Matt shares all his ideas on how to be happier, more successful, and enjoy life to the fullest. Please go to mattogradycoaching.com and thelivinggratitudebook.com to learn more and receive your free micro-coaching session with Matt.
Boar's Head invites you to enlighten your senses. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Inspired by Japanese master chefs, our signature teriyaki glaze is crafted with garlic, ginger, and a hint of brown sugar, then paired with our tender, slow-roasted chicken breast for a flavor that's sweet, savory, remarkably bold. Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken, the bold flavor of Japan, now at the deli. Compromise elsewhere.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Matt O'Grady Podcast, thelivingggratitudebook.com. It's the website for my new book, published a few weeks ago, I guess almost a month ago now. Thank you so much for all of you who have purchased it and contacted me about it. I sincerely appreciate it. It's wonderful to hear how the book's affecting you and what you think of it, and all those different things that, the experience of hearing back from the podcast community is tremendous for me. So thank you for that. For those of you who would like to, you just go to mattogradycoaching.com and contact me there on the contact page. You can do it on the livingggratitudebook.com website as well. So today, I'm really excited to talk to you about the power of choice. It's pretty interesting in working with my clients and my own kind of inner unfoldment over the last couple decades. And even now, recently, as we move into the busy holiday season, can be this pressure that we put upon ourselves, that it feels like it's coming from the outside world. But that's not true. Or the truth is that we're, quote unquote, buying into it. We're engaging with it. We're choosing to allow it to affect us by the meaning we tell ourselves that it has in our lives. We've got to rush around and buy all these gifts, that we have to deal with lines and be stressed and make it happen and all of that. And the truth is that you can do that, and a lot of us will, and a lot of us have already, and a lot of us will continue to do so for the next few weeks. But the truth is that if you choose to do that, then it's a choice. So it may feel like, well, it's my family, they're counting on me. My friends are counting on me, or the homeless people are counting on me. In my case, we're doing a lot of stuff for the kids with cancer and the homeless here on Long Island. And even in those responsibilities of like going to the store and buying this, and I felt it when we did Thanksgiving. That was a super busy week for me. I had, the book was getting ready to come out, and I had so many other different things on my plate, work-wise and family-wise. And then I'm also getting all of my kind of charity work done and for the homeless and the Mother's Kiss organization. If anybody's interested in donating or checking it out, on motherskiss.org, really great organization helping kids out with cancer. So as you go through it, I realized like, hey, I'm choosing to do this because I think it's good for the world, it's good for my soul, it's good for my community, it's good for the Soul Brothers group that I'm a part of, it's good for all these different reasons, right? But remembering that it's a choice is empowering. When we forget that everything we do is a choice, we are taking away our own power. We're discounting ourselves. We're all the way down to seeing ourselves as the victim, being forced into these situations. But when you just realize that you're actually choosing to do these things, all of a sudden our power can start to come back. The consciousness of creating your own life starts to come back. The understanding that the seeds you plant and the thoughts you think and the feelings you have and the actions you take and the words you say are all creating your in-the-moment present life and your future life down the road. Everything you think and feel and say and do is leading you towards the future of your life. So, as I tell my clients, be sure to choose to do, say, feel, and think the things that you want to have in your future. So if you're thinking, I'm such a jerk, I'm too tired to do all of this, I'm stressed out beyond belief, or whatever it is, just know that whatever you're thinking is going to lead to more of those thoughts. Whatever you're feeling is going to lead to more of those feelings. Whatever you're doing is going to lead to more opportunities to do the same. And so what's really important is that we start aligning ourselves with where we want to go instead of what we think we have to do. So there can be a little bit of an unwinding or an unwrapping or unraveling to this kind of idea, because for so many years, and in many of our cases, many decades, we've been thinking of all the things that we have to do, that our lives are not full of all these choices all day long. Every moment is an opportunity to choose what you want to do with your life. Every single moment. And so if you remember that, what you drink, what you eat, what you say, what you think, what you do with your time. I mean, people say, well, I have to work. It's my job. I'll lose my job if I don't. But yes, that may be true, right? However, you can drive to the beach instead of driving to your job, couldn't you? I'm talking about literal thinking here. I'm not talking about what's most practical or what you feel like you have to do, or, take care of yourself and your family and keep a roof over your head and that kind of thing. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literal choice. It's true, right? If you look at it, if you're really honest with yourself, that when you pull back all the layers and you begin to truly notice the reality of the situation, the reality is every single moment is a choice. Every topic I choose for this podcast is a choice. Nobody else gets to choose. I choose it. And then I talk about it. And sometimes I come up with a title and an idea and I talk about something else. And thanks for forgiving me for that. But, I follow the energy. So I'm not necessarily stuck to what the title says or what the write-up says. I'm choosing in the moment to follow the flow of energy to do the best job that I can do for my listeners. And as you know, I treat this podcast as not just a podcast for my listeners, but a co-creation of what you all tell me that you're interested in hearing about, as well as what's really alive in my life. And so I treat it almost as like a public journal, if you will, to share information about my life and what's going on and how I'm living it and how I deal with the different things that come up, because I've had some really great teachers and I've been doing a whole lot of studying for quite a few years now on how to work with this inner process of self-awareness and reflection and contemplation and mindfulness and law of attraction and manifesting and being happy and finding joy and opening the heart and being grounded and moving forward and following your dreams. Like that's what I'm in the business of. That list that I just laid out for you. I'm not sure I said peace, but that's a big focus for me as well. Being peaceful, paying it forward, being kind, being generous, being loving. The practice of love in our lives is a choice. We choose to love the people that we love. Sometimes we feel like family members or other relationships that we have in life, or, we have to love them, because they're blood family or they're marriage, family, or whatever the case is. But the truth is the heart's going to do what the heart's going to do, right? To a certain degree, our heart chooses who we love. The heart isn't something separate from us. We are the heart. So you're choosing even in that. And I know, it doesn't feel like we're choosing. But the truth is that we are. And through self-awareness, if you have a deep, strong foundation in your self-awareness practice, what you can do is step back during meditation or just being mindful of your life as you go through it, watching your thoughts and feelings and actions and words. And then in the moment, you can choose to say and do things that are different than what you might have done if you weren't being self-aware. And if you were just kind of following the monkey mind, the ego, you're circling thoughts, you're circling patterns, and just kind of doing the same thing every day. Like, the truth is, if you eat a big, fat, greasy cheeseburger every day, but you never become aware, you're just like, okay, that's what I do every day. Guess what? Your life, to a certain degree, is going to equal up to a big, fat, juicy, greasy cheeseburger. Maybe that's what you're going for. I mean, that's cool. I like a greasy cheeseburger as much as the next guy, but I'm sure not to have one every single day, because if I did, I know what it would equal up to. So I look forward to it. It's kind of more like my monthly greasy cheeseburger, and every once in a while it's a weekly cheeseburger. But I'm aiming for a monthly one. Same thing with a Meatball Hero. I love a Meatball Hero, but I don't want my life to become a Meatball Hero. So I choose not to have it that often. And that's one that I actually only have every few months. And that one I'm really good about because, well, there's a whole story to that. I'll tell you another time. But our whole life is a pile of choices, millions of them that we've been making all throughout our lives, that you're going to make today, that you already made as you're listening to this podcast, your day that's gone before you, or if you're listening first thing in the morning, maybe it's all the choices that you're going to make later today and tomorrow. And what I ask you to do is really step back and take a look at your life and begin to notice if you are remembering that everything you do, say, think, and feel is a choice. And once again, that resistance may come up. Well, begin to notice where you do agree with me. Begin to notice where it does feel true. Where in your life do you have the power of choice? Begin to notice that if the resistance is big. Start with where you agree with me and argue with me later. and see what happens. See if you begin to notice how the power of choice is all throughout your life. I mean, if you're remembering to go for that walk or drink that glass of water or tell that person I love you or tell that person I forgive you, all of that is a choice. Right? Isn't it true? I really think it is. I just took a drink of coconut water. That was a choice. I was thirsty. I reached for it. I took it up to my mouth and I drank it right in the middle of my podcast, trusting that you guys would hang around for the extra 3 seconds it took for me to have that sip of coconut water. So if you really step back, all the words that I'm saying to you now that are going to come out of my mouth for the rest of this podcast are a choice. I'm choosing to say the word choice. I chose the title. I chose the write-up. I chose the length. I chose to write certain notes down in preparation for the podcast. I haven't looked at them yet. I hope to do that before because I had some good ideas.
Be sure to come back for part 2 of this episode. Thank you again for joining us on the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast. Until next time, please go to mattogradycoaching.com and thelivingGratitudebook.com to learn more and receive your free micro-coaching session with Matt.